1, 2.
We
Now,
live? We are live. You guys, it's the last Spiritual Matters of 2022. Take a breath. We are here together for the last time in 2022, and now we move into 2023. So I have the perfect transition exercise for us all. Make sure that you bring your notebook and a piece of paper and something to write with, or your digital notebook, or your chalk, your crayons, whatever you write with, because today we are going to have an exercise in spiritual matters. I'm your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando, and I have a rather long quote, more than usual, what we usually do. But it's important to me because I've been a student of A Course in Miracles for many, many years, and now I teach it. So I want to give you the introduction quote to A Course in Miracles. It says, "This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take is voluntary." And when I first read that, I was like, "Sheesh, you could say that about life. Forget A Course in Miracles, right?" Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, and what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way: nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. I love percussion. I love starting the day with percussion. Hello, everybody. Hello, Atlanta. Hello, New York. Hello, Arizona. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. Once again, your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando. And I'm seeing some new faces and some familiar faces, and I'm loving that we have that diversity on the last day of the Daily Huddle Thursday Spiritual Matters.
Tennessee's in the house.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I love it so much. You guys like this story about I love it
Hey, y'all.
So let's see. Chase, how are you? And what are you grateful for? Let's get grounded in today's now moment.
I am well, calm, and focused.
All right.
And I'm grateful for that top you have on. Holy cow. Beautiful.
Come on, Orange.
Amazing. Like you're popping off the screen. I love your energy. I'm grateful for you today.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chase.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Now, Giovanni, where are you? And who are you going to hug today?
Let me see.
Entra con la comedia.
I gotta look. I'm here. I'm here.
That's true. That's true. Good checking in.
I'm checking. I'm here. And who I'm going to hug today? Today I'm going to hug my neighbor today.
Nice. I didn't know you had it like that. I stopped at cookies. Okay. We love it. We love it. I appreciate your ability and willingness to create relationship. I love it so much. Today we want to talk about my top ritual or ceremony for releasing the past and bringing in the new. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this topic today is because I don't know if you guys know, but the month of January is named after the Roman god Janus, who, quiet as it's kept, took a lot of the characteristics and the necharu, if you will, the nature, the qualities of the African god Elegua, those are different pronunciations, but they both mean the same thing. It's a god of doors, it's a god of gates, it's a god of transitions, it's a god of like road openings. And the Roman god Janus represented that middle ground between the concrete and the abstract, dualities between life and death, beginning and end, youth and adulthood, rural and urban, war and peace, barbarism and civilization, if you will. And he took all that from the African tradition of Elegba. And so we named the month of January after the Roman god Janus for that reason, for that conversation of leaving the past behind and then opening up the future, opening up this new year, which is why a lot of folks that follow the Gregorian calendar do like New Year's resolutions around January, even though we're in the middle of winter and that's not the time to do it, but that's another sermon for another Sunday. So I want to help you do a release ritual by offering you mine. And for many, many years now in my family, I have guided my household through a ritual called burning bowl. Put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with a burning bowl, if you've ever heard of it, if you've ever done it, if somebody's ever told you about it, etc. If you ever have heard of the burning bowl, okay, wonderful, we are familiar. That's great. Somebody said, can we do a series on A Course in Miracles? Yes, I love it. Okay. So for some of you that have heard about the burning bowl, this is redundant conversation. That's fine. Maybe you learned something new, or maybe you can add something to the conversation. For those of you who have not heard, the burning bowl isn't a bowl per se. It is a container. Please use a fire-resistant container, such as an aluminum trash can or something like that. And what I want you to do, now you don't have to do this today, right now, obviously, because you perhaps don't have the tools that you need. But what I want you to do is gather your paper, okay? You might start writing some things down today and then complete it on your own time. What I want you to do in that piece of paper is I want you to think about all the things that have transpired this year and prior that you are finally willing to let go of or to release. Some of them might be circumstances. Some of them might be qualities about yourself or about your life circumstances, or a residual of a circumstance, right? So for example, if there was a circumstance that happened, there's nothing you can do about it, but you still have a residual feeling of disappointment or of anger or resentment or something that you want to release and let go of. I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to write a letter to your highest self. Now, for some people that may be difficult. Some people are like, I don't know who my highest self is, and here she goes with the woo-woo stuff. Well, listen, it's spiritual matters for a reason, okay? This is the resident woo-woo department in the Daily Huddle family, so get comfortable. But if not your higher self, then God, or perhaps your future self, right? Since we're talking about Janus and the gates of past and future and so forth. And I want you to write to whatever it is that you think has the power and authority to relieve you of the things that you are leaving behind. Some people are atheists and they think I am my own authority. Okay, great. That's perfect, right? And so in that letter, what I want you to write down is, as of this moment, I am releasing, and then you fill in the blank. As of this moment, I am releasing extra weight on my body. I am releasing a consciousness of lack. I am releasing disappointment about the way that I handled so-and-so's funeral. I am releasing resentment about not being invited to so-and-so's wedding. I am releasing, like that, like get specific. Now here's the distinction: to get real specific without the story. Why is that an important distinction? Because a lot of times what happens is that when we retell the story, some of you know this from just linguistics and psychology, etc. When you retell the story, you are like building a groove in the neural pathways of your brain about the way that something happened, like that's reality versus your interpretation, right? And then it is difficult to get into the authorship of the next section of this ritual, which is creating a new possibility. Because if you have it like, this is the way that it happened, and this is the way that I feel, and this is the truth with a capital cosmic T, then where could you go from there, right? So that's why we don't include the story in this letter. Besides, your higher self, God, whoever it is that you are writing this to, probably already knows it. Don't need the story. They were there with you. So just right, as of this moment, I am releasing, and then you fill in the blank. I am releasing resentment from the way that so-and-so talked to me on that day. I'm releasing anger from promising myself I was going to do something and not doing it. I'm releasing my lack of discipline at eating cookies. You know, get specific, but without the story. So that's part one of the exercise. And you can get started now, and then you can go ahead and finish that later in your own time, in your own meditation time, in your own prayer time, et cetera, et cetera. Part two of the exercise. And I want you to take your time with this. I want you to like really make it like a sacred, you know, line in the sand, as it were. Yeah. I want you to take that piece of paper, or those pieces of paper, because if you're anything like me, child, by the time you're done, it'll be 2-3 pages. Okay. And I want you to take those pieces of paper, rip them apart, rip them away from you, because you're releasing this, right? So rip them away from you, or if you want to fold them away from you. Here's what I mean by that. I'm going to take a piece of paper. Just imagine that this is where I wrote it down. I'm going to fold it away from me, away, because I'm releasing this. I'm letting this go, okay? That piece of paper that you ripped or folded, you're then going to put in that container, whether it's, you know, your kitchen sink, or whether it's outside in the woods, or whether it's an aluminum trash can, or something fire safe that you're not going to cause much environmental damage. And then you're going to light it up, and you're going to burn it into non-existence. You're going to watch it happen. And as you watch it happen, I want you to imagine that whatever it is that you wrote down there is disappearing, just like the paper is. This is a visual, but also an emotional exercise, because sometimes you're releasing stories that you've held on for a long time. For a long time. When I did this exercise, I first learned about this exercise when I was going through a cancer experience in my early 20s. And one of the things that I wrote down, and I didn't mean it at the time, and I didn't know I didn't mean it at the time until I had some more maturity, was the resentment that I felt towards my mother, for example, for some stuff that happened in my childhood. And when I released it, that first time that I wrote it down, I later on remembered other stuff that I also needed to let go of. You know, it was very emotional for me, because it was like, wow, this is the thing that has been standing between me and my mom in terms of having like a close relationship. And I've held on to it. She hasn't held on to it. I held on to it. And she always knew that there was this invisible barrier between me and her. And she didn't know why. She didn't know how to pierce through it. She didn't know how to break through it. She didn't even know to ask. And I was the one that was holding that invisible barrier up. So it was very touching for me to be able to articulate it and then watch it burn. It was the beginning of a lot of healing for me and my mother. And we are, of course, now since really, really good. And we've done a lot of work together. But it started with this exercise. So that's part two, is to actually put it in a fire safe container and burn it and watch it burn, and imbue it with the feeling of the relief that you would feel. Imagine the relief that you would feel if you are finally 100% done with, and you've released your lack consciousness, or your resentment about this, or your overweight that, or your, disappointment about such and such failure, or your self-consciousness or insecurity about whatever, right? Imagine that you really did burn that, release that into the nothingness whence it came. That's part two of that exercise. And then part three, this is where it gets exciting. I'm so excited about this part. You take another piece of paper, and I want you to imagine you version December 2023. You 12 months from now. 2023 Monica, 2023 Chase, 2023 Sorrel, 2023 Giovanni, 2023 Cece. Right? She knows how 2023 went because she lived it. You, 2022 Giovanni or 2022 Chase, don't know that yet. Not consciously, not cognitively, right? So you're going to write as though you are the 2023 version of yourself to the 2022 version of yourself with all the things that you're celebrating, that you accomplished, that you handled, that you created in the year 2023. So it'll go something like this. Hey, Monica 2022. This is Monica 2023. I'm so excited to tell you about all the things that happened in 2023 that we did together. It all started with you releasing that in that burning bowl ritual. And then here's what we created. And you go through all the things that you want to create in 2023. We started a new fitness regimen and we lost 50 pounds. Or we finally finished that book and we published it. It's called such and such. It's got 123 pages or whatever it is, right? So you want to be specific with it without the story. Be specific about your creation. And guess what? It's like exciting, right? It's like a girlfriend talking to another girlfriend or one of your buddies talking to you, right? Because there's a familiarity, there's an intimacy, there's a connection there because you want it to be so the feeling of this letter is celebratory. It's intimate, it's connected. It's a dear friend sharing victory with another dear friend so that we can celebrate together. This isn't you inventing something that hasn't happened. That's a different come from. Okay. Now, for extra credit, if you're feeling real dangerous, you can actually send that letter, even if it's just a screenshot, or if you've written it down in your digital plan or whatever, you can email it to burningbowl@monikahogando.com. Now here's what's going to happen if you send it to burningbowl@monikahogando.com. I will not read it. But come June, which is the halfway point of the 2023 year, you will get that letter back. And it'll be an opportunity for you to check in with yourself. What have I created from the things that I declared for 2023? Can I cross some of these things off already? Or do I have a long ways to go? Because if I have a long ways to go, girl, get on it. You got 6 months left. Right? So those steps allow you to create a new possibility and to draw a line in the sand, as it were, about the future that you're creating, about the future that you're living into. Chase says, can you send the exact spelling of your name, please? Yes, it's Monikah. That's Monica. And then Ogando. So burningbowl@monikahogando.com. All right. Now, if you do want me to read it, if you want some support, if you want some whatever, then say that. Because otherwise I will not read it. I will respect your privacy. It'll be completely confidential. And all that will happen is that you will get it sent back. Why is that important? Because you want to get in the habit of creating spaces where your liminal self has invention space. Do you know what I mean by liminal self? Put up 1 in the chat if you know what I mean by liminal self. No? 1 in the chat if you know, 2 in the chat if you don't. What's a liminal self? Do you know? 1 in the chat if you know, 2 if you don't. Oh, what? Okay. So a liminal self is a being that cannot easily be placed into one single category of existence. In other words, it lives in all potentialities of your life. Your liminal self lives in the potentiality of what it would be like for you if you didn't have any children. If you have children in this reality, it also knows what your life would be like if you didn't have children. If you have degrees right now, it would know what it would be like if you quit high school. Yes, your multiverse self, exactly. That's exactly right. Thank you, Sorrel. And so your liminal self, when you create a relationship with your liminal self, then you can draw from the quantum field the future or the potentiality that you want to bring into this reality. Now, you thought this was just going to be spiritual matters. You had no idea we're going to be talking about quantum physics and liminality. We're going out with a bang this year. So can you imagine? This is kind of like the movie Sliding Doors. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Sliding Doors, but the premise of that story is that when this person, I think it was played by Gwyneth Paltrow, she was about to take a train and she missed it by like a nanosecond. And because she missed it, she was able to be on the platform, on the train platform, long enough to be able to meet this person who then became the love of her life and blah, 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 blah. Had she gone on that train, she would have missed that fateful meeting and her life would have been completely different. So this is like a sliding door moment for you that we're creating together, to be able to write down your burning bowl letter of the things that you're releasing from 2022 and beyond, to burn it into non-existence, so that it's no longer in this reality, so that it's no longer anchoring you. And then opening up another possibility that you are living into with every moment of your consciousness, to be able to meet yourself at the end of 2023, because you already have met this person. You've written as though you are that person. And so you live the next 12 months as though you're going to go there and meet that person by becoming that person, so that you can celebrate the things that you already wrote about 12 months ago. Can you imagine? You don't even need weed for this stuff. This is just meditation, breath, and some writing material. You don't even need plant medicine. That's extra credit. So I know I went a little over my halfway point in talking, because I wanted to give you some instructions, but I want to open it also for some questions to see if you have any clarifying questions about the exercise, or if there's something that you want to contribute to the conversation, but something that's hitting you, something that you're realizing, something that you want to grapple with, etc. What do you say? Ooh, Giovanni. Yes, yes, my friend.
And so one of the things that I was noticing about the possibility of the exercise, which is new for me, is to write that letter for releasing. Often, or the way it has always been for me, is just jump into, well, let's see what I can create this year. And whether it's a letter I write myself at the end of the year, or whether it's just the point of creation, but it's always some version of that. And in this occasion, there's this opportunity to release something and then burn it. I was doing it on my digital book. I was like, oh no, this won't work. I can't burn my book. And delete won't work. It needs the energy of the fire, right? So I am excited at taking that on. I want to say that. Yeah.
Well, maybe you can print it. Maybe you can print it from your digital notebook.
And then burn. Yeah, no, I can't. Well, maybe I could. I mean, then I'll have to access one of my multiverse new options.
An inkjet printer.
And then learn to print it from my notebook, which I probably can. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's also really powerful when you handwrite it. There's a kinetic energy that happens when your brain connects to your hand and you write it down that way. So that's another possibility.
Yes. Yes.
Michelle says, this is a much more thorough process than I've ever heard, much more helpful. Oh, yay, glad to hear it. Thank you, Giovanni. You gave us some possibilities there.
So this, just kind of quick follow-up. on curiosity though. This exercise that you are creating for us, this is part of the Course of Miracle, or that was just a quote?
That's just a quote.
Oh, okay.
That was a quote. This is the way that Burning Bowl has been taught to me, and then I've added some of those pieces with my clients and so forth. That makes it really helpful.
I love it. And then we should email you with obviously our address and stuff, I guess. Because you're gonna mail it to me, or you're gonna email it back to me?
No, email it back. Yeah. If you want me to mail it to you, I'm happy to.
Oh, okay.
Happy to. But yeah, email works just fine. What if you don't feel you are able to give something up, guilt after the suicide of a loved one? Then give up your unwillingness to give it up so that you can have some other possibilities.
Yeah, give up the unwillingness. That's really cool.
I had to do this with, I have a confession for you guys. The more I learned about American history, about global history, et cetera, the more resentful I got for the mentality of colonizers. And it took me a while to realize that it was a consciousness of domination, not specific people. Because if it was specific people, I'd have a problem with people that look like that and not the consciousness that would create that kind of domination and that kind of oppression, right? And there were many days when I was like, no, I don't want to release that. I don't want to release that righteous anger, because it would be like making it okay, like making me complicit about this injustice and blah, blah, blah. And it took me a minute to be able to say, but I'm willing. I haven't done it yet, dag nabbit. I don't know how, but I'm willing. And so I think that's maybe the creak in the door that you need to go through. Sorrel, what you got?
You know, the multiverse self accessing the quantum field. Have you played with that? You know, it's almost as if I'm here unwilling to release something, and then I could actually go and say, well, let me think about what a version of me that released that. What kind of life would that version have? And then play with that life, or even live that life for a moment or a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. Have you played with the liminal self that way?
Yes. This has been one of my own meditation work, in my own journaling work. That's been one of the exercises I've put myself through, which is why I don't take nothing seriously. Which is why I can speak about really painful things as though they're just like a thing to get through. It's not because it's not a trauma response in the sense of like minimizing something for a survival strategy. It's more like, but I know that there's another possibility. I don't need to hang on to this. I can create something else. And that's a sense of power and of groundedness that allows you to be with pain or disappointment or grief or guilt or whatever. Michelle, like you were saying about the suicide of a loved one, allows you to be with those dark emotions without being drowned by them. You can have your emotions without your emotions having you. And in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to hang on to another possibility where this isn't the all-encompassing reality. Yeah? I'm looking at your face and it feels like you have another question, Sorrel.
I'm accessing the multiverse right now. And really imagining a life without all the constraints that impose on myself.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like this big revolution of another life. It could be in this moment. What would the disciplined me do in this moment of decision about this workout?
Yeah.
What would the disciplined me do about this cookie right now? You know, it could be that those little baby steps allow you to then create the life that you are, you know, inventing and designing for yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so thankful that all of you are here for our.
Thank you.
Yes, Rashida, you were going to say something?
Good morning, Dr. Monica. Thank you so much for opening a passage in my life. And why I say that is that I did something like this a month ago with ayahuasca. And it's amazing to
Mhm.
see that you came and still nip it. And I say, I like this. This means that the universe and my ancestors, they mean like, oh, you're going to go on the second round.
Oh, I
So
love it.
thank
Second
you.
round. Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this. And I'm telling you, I'm going for the challenge. I am going for the challenge for the
Awesome.
second time because I tell you the same thing we did a month ago when I did the ceremony of we call it the abuela ceremony, and we did something exactly like this. So the challenge is back into my court. So I am up to the challenge again. Thank you so much for your presentation, and really and truly, I see you in the new year with the
Yes.
challenge.
Yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
that.
Rashida. That's awesome. And thank you, all of you, for being here today with me. I really appreciate the energy that we exchange every time that we meet here every Thursday. I appreciate that you take the time to be present. Some of you show up just once a week for this one. Some of you show up every single day for every single one of our daily huddle, get-togethers, because it is a ritual, right? And it is a way to create community, to create connection, to ground yourself into the possibility of your greatest self, and to avail yourself of the resources that are available to you, right? Because a lot of times in this culture, we celebrate individualism and we celebrate those that just the Lone Ranger and you can do it yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And nowhere in human history has that ever been effective. Nowhere. And so I acknowledge you for owning that, for following your own natural pattern of seeking connection and community, because you know, as the African proverb says, if you want to go far, go together. Thank you very much for being here. Remember, of course, our daily tenets: love generously, laugh obnoxiously. I want you, my personal assignment to you is give yourself at least one moment today where you cackle, where you guffaw, when you snort of so much laughter. Move your tail feather. I want you to twerk. Twerking is a holy practice. Lord have mercy. Eat more plant-based, stress less, sleep, get yourself at least 7 or 8 hours. And of course, audit your assumptions. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Your assumptions are also a point of creation. And so you want to audit them so that you can choose them deliberately. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. See you next year. You're welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Bye now.